Hello and welcome to the channel. In this video we're going to look over the increment and decrement operators that are available. Now the increment and decrement operators are kind of like shorthand operators, and we talked about shorthand operators before. We'll just kind of briefly recap on that. So say if we had a variable, I'm just going to make a couple here just to kind of just get this step out of the way right off the hop. I do got a kind of a plan here to show you increment and decrement a little bit better so you can kind of see what's happening. The other ones we were talking about was the shorthand operators, which were, if you can remember, in previous videos we went to do, oh, there we go, number one. Oh geez, there we go, number one. And we just did the plus equals, one type of thing, or it was just to kind of add one. The left was being added to the right, and it kind of was the same thing as if we wrote it like this, So that was a shorthand operator when we appended it to the plus sign, or the plus was appended to the equal sign here. So we got another way to make this. We got a shorthand operator that we can use to increment our value by 1. Okay, so this is called the decrement operator, and actually specifically called, this one here is called the pre-increment operator. Okay, and we do have another operator that is similar. It's called the post-increment operator. All right, and I just had number underscore 1 in here. We can go like that. And now if you just notice, the pre just has the double plus sign in front and the post has it in the back. And kind of briefly explain what's going on here. When it's a pre-increment, it actually increments the value before it is evaluated in an equation, or before it's being used in something. So I'll kind of show you the example of that. And the post is it will use the number first and then it will increment. Okay, so I'm going to use this in a loop. I haven't really talked about loops yet, but I'm just going to set this up. So we will talk more about this later. Say we just take this number, we'll make it 5, we'll make number as 2, and then we'll just make one more here called loop control. Guess I didn't really think that over enough, but that's okay. So we'll just use our loop control at 0, and we'll just, while it's less than or equal to 10, we'll just do a quick system.out.print line, and we will now take our result. Oh, we have to put that in a string. Result is equal, and we'll just put the loop control right there. All right, now I kind of want to show you what's going on when you're using the loops like this. So while it is, while this is less than or equal to 10, now loop control here is 0. All right, when we come down into here, if we were to take loop control now and we were to put, if we were to run this, okay, and we took loop control and we made it increment down here, and we run it, now what we'll get is we should see it print out 0 through 10. All right, I'll just show you what's going on. We'll just run that, and this is kind of the typical use of a incrementer, post increment or pre. So now you can see we have 0 through 10. All right, and then I'll put this on the other side, and I'll just show you that there's really nothing that changes. Okay, we'll just close this, and as you see with it as a post increment, it goes 0 through 10, right? And I'll just run it, and you'll see it's going to be 0 through 10. So you're kind of probably like, well, I thought you said that there was a difference between the two, right? Well, it's not technically in here that you're going to see a difference, because there's no, nothing going on down this way. So it's not really going to be a change, or you're not actually, say, using it in a form where it's going to be evaluated. So if we were to take this out of here You know, and the same thing goes, if I was to put this up top, you'll just see it. Basically, it will go from now, instead of 0, it will start at 1 and go up to 9. All right, so in this form, you don't necessarily know that it goes from 1 to 11. Yeah, sorry, I actually messed that up, but 1 to 11. And again, if you were to put this on this side and run the code, it'll do the exact same thing. And you're not actually seeing the true reason for the post or the pre-incrementer. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take it out of here, and I'm going to try to show you what it actually does here. Okay, so if I now use it over here, this is now evaluating this. It's going to put the value up by 1 and then print it. So now you're going to see 1 to 11 because it doesn't start, it won't print out to 0. So I'll show you now. I'll just run it. So it's essentially like we put it at the top now when it's inside of here and we're using it. Okay, so it's 1 through 11. All right, and then so if I was to actually put it back here now, okay, and we run it, now it would be like as if we put it at the bottom. Okay, so that's kind of the logic here. If you see, we now start at 0 through 10. Okay, now that is where it kind of makes the most sense when it's just to be shown this way. See, so there is a difference between the post and the pre. And the pre, when it was over here, what it does is it'll actually, you know, this is 0, it comes down here, evaluates loop control. It's 0, is 0 less than or equal to 10? True, we come into the loop, we come here, we increment it first and then print it. All right, so now it's 1, then we print, we come back around, we do this again. Now it's 2, we print, now it's 3, we print, now it's 4, we get all the way up to 11. And you'll notice that, you know, less than or equal to 10 is where we're supposed to stop, but we're printing it out to 11. That's something you're going to have to watch, because if you only wanted it up to 10, then you might have to remove, you know, this value. You can see we can run this now, and we will get the actual value from, you know, 1 through to 10. Now, if you did actually want it to be 0 up until 10, now this is where it's going to give you another issue. So now if we move this to the opposite side, now if we were to do this, we walk through the code, we have a 0 here. Is 0 less than 10? True, it is. Come down here. Now it will print the variable and then increment it. All right, so now we start at 0 and we work our way up, and we'll run the code and I'll show you what happens here. And you'll notice that, you know, we wanted 0 to 10, but we're getting it now 0 to 9. So in this form, we would actually have to then leave the equal sign in. So just to be aware of that kind of stuff, be aware of how it's used when you're actually, you know, using it in an equation, or when you're using it in a value like this. I can show you another form where it's going to kind of work that way, so that you know when to use it, and it's not going to be in a loop. But I'm going to quickly just go over the post, or the pre-decrement. Okay, and it's essentially the exact same thing as this, but now with the negative. So now we're just actually taking a value from it, and then we have this one as well, which is a post decrement. Post decrement, and we can then just use the negative sign again. Okay, same thing's gonna happen here. So if you want to, you know, we can change this value to 10, we can come here, make this 0, get this to be a greater than, and now we can just, you know, we'll do the same thing. If you're using it in the front, it's essentially as if you put this loop controller up here. So we run it, and you'll see, here we go. Now it's going from 9, you know, we started at 10, and it's moving down to -1. which if that's not what you wanted, because this wasn't in the right spot, you may have to tweak this so you're not, you're getting it from actually 9 to 0, and if you wanted it at 10 to 0, then you may have to, rearrange the position of where it was put. All right, so a couple little small tricks just to be aware of what's going on. There, you got your 10 to 0 now. All right, and there is a rhyme and a reason for it like that when it comes down to it. I'm going to comment this code block out now. I just kind of use a loop just to hopefully show it to you a little bit easier and quicker to understand format. We'll come up here really quick. We'll go through one more problem with this. So say if you're actually taking the result, let's say result is equal to, and you said we went like this, you wanted to take number 1, which is now 5, and add number underscore 2. You did use this in an equation sum form. We had this value like this. Say we'll go system.out.print. Just going to take this guy here, put it there, take that one there, and then I'm actually going to come down. We're going to do the decrement of it, or the opposite, the post increment to it, and we will actually print out the value for number 1 in this form here. So all right, now you don't really have to completely follow along in this form. It's just more for for your own knowledge. If I went a little fast there, maybe I'll just stop and let you kind of catch up to it. I'll kind of walk through here. So number 1 at this point is 5. So when we get down here, we increment it by 1, so it is 6. We add the 2. This should be 8. All right. When we print it out, this result should equal to 8. And when we get here, num should be 6. All right. So we're printing it at 6. Now we didn't initialize it to anything else, so over here it should be 6. And we take 6, add 2 to it. And now this is also 8. So here it's 8, but down here this is 7. So you'll notice the incrementation as it was, before, and how it works in evaluation and using it. You see, 10, 5. Oh yeah, we incremented it twice here. 5. Yeah, okay, that's my bad. So we went number 1. Number 1 is now incremented. Yeah, I didn't even think these ones over. That's my bad. I walked you through a logic that I missed completely. These two incrementations that were prior, so we actually had to add 2 to each of these values. When I said it was 8, yeah, obviously it would be 10. Okay, so sorry about that, but if you can, you kind of see what's going on there. You notice these values are exactly the same. We did the math to it like we were supposed to here, but because the post will use the number in the evaluation first and then increment it, it actually doesn't, work the way you may think it was going to work. So just be aware of how you use it and which one you are using. Okay, for the most part, you're probably going to be kind of defaulting to this pre-increment where you're just going to, add 1 and then use it. There's never really there's a time and place for this one, and you can see value in it as you wish. It might be one that you prefer to use, or you will use according to a certain logic that you've now, come up with. So logic and the kind of what the program's asking you to do, or what you are looking to get out of your program, will kind of decide whether or not you use one or the other. In any of these logics that they show you, there's different if statements, or like selector, there's an if, there's a switch, there's a conditional. They all do the same thing, roughly. They have little, differences, and they do, it'll be up to you to pick which ones you want to use. So that's it for this. If you did like the video, give it a thumbs up. You know, if you have any comments, questions, or ideas for future videos, just put in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check out the rest of the videos, and we'll catch you in the next video.